What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Art of War stream. This is a super exciting Necrons Codex review. We have been waiting for the machines to rise, and Games Workshop has finally deemed it time.
AdMech and Necrons at the same time.
I've been waiting. My machine heart is so happy. So happy.
I just finished reading Twice Dead King in preparation for this review.
Yes.
I'm ready.
So this is a very exciting time. We've gotten Tyranids and Space Marines so far. So we've gotten the context on like what some of the new detachments kind of feel like, the power level of all this, and luckily the codexes that have come out thus far haven't been in insane like heights like 9th edition.
They've been very, very balanced.
They've been close enough to the better of the indexes, and that means that the game doesn't all of a sudden spiral into this army is just now the best one, you better play it.
Yep.
So fingers crossed it's the same with these, but for my initial impressions, it is kind of following along the same exact lines. So I'm very excited about that because it means the game, which is in a really healthy spot right now, is going to continue to be so. And as soon as we get hopefully another update in January, we will then kind of refine some of the things that are a little too good, a little not being seen, and get back to even better meta.
Yep.
So, Necron's Codex. If you like this type of content, if you like our reviews, and we're going to go through every single new change here, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about it. All of that massively helps us grow as a channel and also reach further and further parts of the 40K community. And we're trying to reach as many people as possible these days. So please do, tell your friends about us. It really does help us. And finally, give us a comment letting us know what you think about these rules. If you're excited to see more Necrons on the table, we will have a lot of content coming out, but especially in our War Room, which is our subscription service. So if you're interested in a lot of Necron games, a lot of AdMech games, Necron content, there's going to be all sorts of detachment breakdowns. I'm going to work through list concepts, all the tips and tricks and things that I think are going to work best for them. If you want that type of content, please subscribe. The War Room. .vhx.tv. There's a 3-day free trial, and with the lovely Black Friday that is coming up right now, there is going to be a sale, which I can preview here. 50% off your first month. Come and try it out. You'll get full access to the entire video catalog on our own platform, as well as our dedicated iOS and Android mobile apps. Just use the promo code BECOMEYOURBEST, and you will get access to that 50% off. So
yeah, super, super exciting.
All right, Quentin. You have dabbled in Necrons.
I've dabbled.
But you are a mere basic lord. And spoiler alert, you get deleted from the data sheets in this book.
Dang it.
But there is time to promote you to
Overlord?
A Nemesis, to an Overlord.
Nice.
And we will see.
I look forward to it.
We can get there. All right. So we're going to start off with the army rule here, reanimation protocols. Guess what? They stayed exactly the same.
Yep.
It's still, you roll a d3. There are going to be other ways to manipulate it in this codex, but the base rule is in your command phase, you roll a d3, and you get that many wounds back. If there's a wounded model, you heal it back to full, and then if you still have extra wounds remaining, you bring a new model back if it's a multi-model unit.
Yeah, so say like Necron Warriors, if you roll 3, you'd get 3 Necron Warriors back. But if you're shooting at something like Tomb Blades, if you roll 3, you'd get 1 Tomb Blade back because it has 2 wounds, and then 1 new guy who would have 1 wound.
Yep, so you apply the wounds one at a time. There was some confusion on that at the beginning of the index. I think most people got it, but there's going to be plenty of new people joining Necrons with this codex, so just wanted to go through that again. But now we're going to get into the exciting things. Okay. So, as we have seen, there have been, with the typical index detachment, which for Necrons was Awakened Dynasty, there have been some edits.
Yes.
Okay? So we'll go through, kind of what changed here. For Necrons, the detachment rule is effectively the same. If a unit is being led by a Necron's character, you get +1 to hit. Still shooting in combat, doesn't matter. And then their enhancements are similar, although several of them got new names.
Yes.
And
I'll take this time once again to say that Necron enhancements have the coolest names of any enhancements.
They really do.
They really do.
So Veil of Darkness is the one that they kept, which it's Veil of Darkness. You can't be messing with the Veil of Darkness. So still pretty much the same thing. It's once per battle, and your opponent's turn. If the bearer's unit's not in engagement range, it still has that restriction. You remove it from the battlefield and set it up in your next reinforcement step. So good that stays. It's one of the strongest things, especially against the Night Spinner meta.
Yep.
Then you have the Nether Realm Casket.
This was previously the Hypermaterial Ablator?
Yes, it was. So now, when this character who has the enhancement is leading a unit, they have stealth, but it's effectively the same thing. Then the Phasal Subjugator. It used to be called the Sovereign Coronal, which I think is a cooler name.
Yep.
But same exact thing, while a friendly Necron unit. And it has an interesting qualifier here. Excluding character units is within 6 of the bearer. Each time a model in the unit makes an attack, +1 to the hit roll.
So notably, this one used to say counts as being led by a character. So things like vehicles could get access to both parts of the stratagems.
Yep.
For that.
In addition, it didn't have that character restriction, so you could get +1 to hit on your Silent King.
Or your Catan,
or your Overlord, whatever, your command barge. So, interesting change there. Makes it a bit worse, in my opinion. And we'll see with the stratagems how they changed as well. Then, Enagic Dermal Bond is the 4-up Phenopane.
Used to be the Sempiternal Weave.
Sempiternal Weave. The difference that you'll see is still same thing, 4-up Phenopane, but it won't be able to go on the Transcendent Catan anymore because it has a specific thing.
It's the big reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they were like, no more of that.
Yeah.
But you will see there are other buffs for it. Okay, so stratagems, they actually kept their names, which is nice, but some of them are a bit different.
Yep.
So Protocol of the Eternal Revenant, this one is a new name, and this is the one that can be used in any phase. When a Necron's infantry character model from your army is destroyed, you use the strat. At the end of the phase, you set the model back up on the battlefield as close as possible.
So this used to be automatic.
It used to be immediately, effectively.
Yeah. So like say someone allocated you 6 attacks, you die to the first 3, well then you'd stand back up and have to take the next 3.
Exactly, and that was a pain. Because effectively it meant that most of the time against a lot of attacks it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
But now if they try and chip you away, it's just not going to work. You come back at the end of the phase, and it's a big deal. I think it's a big improvement, in my opinion, to keeping those brick units alive against precision attacks. The stratagem still can only be used once per model, so you can't just keep using multiple times. Then we have Protocol of the Undying Legions, and here you'll notice some of the kind of changes broadly to how these stratagems work. This one, used in your opponent's shooting or the fight phase, just after the enemy uses its attacks. One Necron's unit from your army that had one or more of its models destroyed as a result of those attacks. Your unit activates its reanimation protocols and reanimates D3 wounds, or D3 +1 wounds if a Necron character is leading your unit. So now that extra thing is just a bracketed, if you happen to be led by a character, you get, they change it there. Okay. And without the Sovereign Coronal, it's not quite as expansive anymore. But that's an important stratagem to keep, which is very important. And then Protocol of the Hungry Void. This one is one of the battle tactics, and it's the improve AP in the fight phase, as well as strength of your melee weapons. +1 strength, +1 AP. And if character's leading it, that's how you get the AP.
Liam Hackett had Necron Warriors punch my avatar to death with Protocol of the Hungry Void.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I wish the Silent King was reroll wounds in melee again. That was a good times. Protocol of the Sudden Storm. This is your mobility strat. Gives you the assault keyword, and if you're led by a Necron character, you reroll your advances. Same as before. Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant is the one that used to be... it's one Necron unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit within half range, you reroll hits of 1. Not reroll wounds.
Oh, that's a big change.
If a Necron's character is leading your unit until the end of the phase, you reroll full hits.
Okay.
So with +1 to hit being their army rule, not quite as good as getting +1 to hit from your army being led by a character and reroll wounds. So this is a quite significant change. However, it means that our units like Immortals that can reroll wounds are very effective, because now you get full rerolls to hit on them, which is super nice.
Especially if you have an ability like sustained hits or lethal hits that a lot of Necron units have. This is also quite useful.
This does help the fact that the vehicles can no longer get the Sovereign Coronal benefit of +1 to hit, but they can access reroll 1s to hit or reroll wounds.
Yes.
Reroll hits, not reroll wounds anymore. So I think it's a bit worse, but it's not the end of the world. It's still a good strat, luckily. They didn't just make it complete trash. Then Protocol of the Vengeful Stars has become 2 CP. It used to be all the strats were 1 CP. This is 2 CP. It used to be the shoot back. And now it is, in your opponent's shooting phase, 1 Necron's character unit from your army, so it's a Necron character unit from your army, within 6 of the Necron unit that was just destroyed. So it's no longer you take wounds and then shoot back. Necron unit is destroyed. You pick a character unit within 6 of it, and then you get to shoot as if it were your shooting phase.
I think it's the other way around. I think if a character was destroyed, your Necron unit gets to shoot. I think it's kind of like, you shot my...
Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit destroys a Necron's unit from your army. One Necron's character unit from your army.
So it's unit led by character.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what's saying is like the Overlord gets pissed and his unit shoots back.
Yes.
But it's 2 CP, so that's very pricey for Necrons, unless you're taking Imatech. And these shootback strats, unfortunately, interact in very weird ways with things like Fire and Fade, Strike and Fade, where usually your opponent with that strat gets to activate their ability first because it'll be their turn and they have priority. So these strats aren't typically used that often. At 2 CP, it's a big downgrade in my opinion.
Yes.
All right, so that's the Awakened Legion.
More or less the same, couple minor changes.
Minor changes. I think it's a little bit worse than it was.
I agree.
But not by a significant margin.
The Annihilation Legion. This is Destroyers and Flayed Ones.
Yep.
I think this is the worst one.
You think this is the worst one?
I think this is the worst one.
All right, so let's go through it.
Yeah.
The detachment rule for the Annihilation Legion is for Destroyer Cult. So that's a decent amount of Destroyer units in the book, as well as Flayed ones. So whenever they declare a charge, you reroll the charge. So bunch of free rerolls in there.
Yep.
That's fine. If one or more targets of the charge are below half strength, you get +1. So if you charge into weakened things, you end up getting a little bit faster.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's fine for a combat army. It's nice to have the rerolls inbuilt, but it doesn't help. Part of the problem with the Necron combat units was they didn't punch up. They punched down, and they were pretty pricey for what you get.
Yeah.
So because of that, you want a melee detachment that makes them punch up like Novak. Novak transformed a mediocre melee army into a really hard-hitting melee army. So this detachment rule isn't really helping there. It's making your charges a bit more consistent, but that hasn't been a problem because those units haven't seen the table because they don't do enough.
Yes.
So let's see if the rest of the rules help them do enough. Enhancements. Eternal Madness. Necron model only. In the fight phase, each time a model in the bearer's unit is destroyed, if they haven't fought, 4-up fight on death.
Yes. It's not bad on like a unit of Scorpex with the Destroyer Lord. It's not great.
It's not bad because if your opponent can't finish off the unit, it's actually pretty sweet because you can revive them and then keep always fighting. But that's not really realistic.
Yeah.
Most of these melee units just don't have the defense because they can't run the defensive characters that can go in the battle line units.
Yeah.
So because of that, little iffy here, but it's okay. Ingrained Superiority, great name. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack on a critical wound, +1 AP. Once again, it's only the bearer's unit. This should just be +1 AP, frankly. Not on 6s you get +1 AP. Maybe even make it 5s and 6s.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
fine.
It's a buff.
It's not a huge one.
We're gonna have to see if this combos with some stratagems.
Yeah.
Soulless Reaper, Destroyer Cult model only. Each time an enemy unit within engaging range of the bearer's unit is selected to fall back on a 3-up, they cannot and must remain stationary.
This is really good.
Very strong.
This is pretty strong. Yeah.
This is kind of how World Eaters are built right now. It's not based on a single roll. It's based on a leadership check on your opponent. But being able to trap your opponent in combat and stop them from falling back allows a melee army to get up the field without being shot.
Yes.
This is critical to this detachment.
Yeah.
And it is strong. Your opponent is going to definitely have to think about this if they play against it. So that's automatic. That enhancement is automatic. If you play this, you have to take that. Then Eldritch Nightmare, Destroyer Cult model only. At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer must take a battle shock test.
This is not awesome.
It's cool.
It's cool. Fine.
It's kind of like a little flex thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, you might combo this with having like Psychomancers in this army to just really kind of go the battle shock direction. But at the same time, it is a pretty niche timing. It's really stopping your opponent from using defensive strats or offensive strats in the fight phase specifically, which is even worse than some of the other ones that happen in your opponent's opponent's turn. So
okay enhancements. I don't love the abilities.
Yeah. Masks of Death is their first strat.
Okay.
Luckily, all of these are 1 CP, so that's
pretty good.
nice. First one is your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase. One destroyer cult or flayed one unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Till the end of the phase, you each time an attack targets that unit, -1 to hit.
Not bad. It's okay.
So
it's
a defensive -1 to hit on your destroyers.
It's the same thing as Eldar's lightning fast reactions. I don't use that a ton, but I do like it when I have it. So it's an okay stratagem.
It's okay. There aren't too many minuses to hit in combat, and there are less rerolls in combat usually, so it can make a difference there.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
The Spore of Frailty.
What a cool name.
This is used in your shooting phase or the fight phase. One destroyer cult or flayed one unit from your army that has not been selected yet. Till the end of the phase, each time model in the unit makes an attack that targets a unit below starting strength. So not below half, below starting strength, you get +1 to hit. If they're below half strength, +1 to wound. So this is something that helps the units punch up.
Yes.
+1 to hit, very nice, but easier to get. +1 to wound, very nice.
Yes.
It does genuinely help like a Scorpec unit punch up. And then if you throw this on the unit that has extra AP on 6s, like that's a decent damage dealer.
Yeah, the problem with it is it's hard to trigger, and it's inconsistent. It relies on units being damaged.
Yep. And which means the rest of your army has to be doing this stuff. So
earlier, yeah. We've seen this ability a lot. I tend to rate them quite low. The if wounded, if damaged. Typically because units are rarely kind of like medium damage. A lot of times they're either dead or at full health. And you tend not to want damage buffs against damaged units. You want damage buff against full health units.
Yep, absolutely. Then we have 1 CP Murderous Reanimation. Used in the fight phase after a destroyer cult or flayed one unit from your army just destroyed an enemy unit, or just caused an enemy unit that was not below half strength to become below half strength. You get to activate your reanimation protocol.
This is pretty cool.
This is very cool. Absolutely, and we'll see there are some other buffs, so being able to all of a sudden proc a reanimation protocol can mean that your opponent, when they swing back into you, maybe you consolidate into something and it swings back, it's just not going to do enough.
Yeah.
Pitiless Hunters is 1 CP, used also in the fight phase, and it gives you a 6-inch pile-in or consolidation move.
I really like this on the Lord that has the you can't fall back enhancement.
It can all of a sudden let you tag all sorts of things, which is going to be used specifically on that unit, but it also can just help you get onto an objective you otherwise wouldn't have because 3 inches wasn't enough. Then Blood-Fueled Cruelty is 1 CP. Your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a fallback move, but there's no range on that. Your 1 Destroyer Cult or flayed one unit from your army that started the phase within engagement range, so your opponent falls back from one of these 2 types of units. You roll a d6 on a 2 to 5. They take d3 mortals on a 6, flat 3. Your unit can then make a normal move, but must end that move as close as possible to the enemy unit.
So notably here, you don't get to end within engagement range.
That was what I was going to point out.
You just get to make a normal move.
It's cool. It could just mean that they fell back behind a terrain feature and then you follow them through it, which is interesting. But generally, they're probably going to make it so that you can't end on that side of the wall and you're just out in the open.
Yeah. I think the big thing here is the D3 or 3 mortals. If your opponent has a 1 wound, thing in combat, you can be like 1 CP, you're probably dead.
Yeah. Or a character stood back up and it's wounded and boom, I'm going to just make sure it's not doing things. But yeah, like you said, that ability to get back into engagement range that some other factions have would have been amazingly powerful here.
If this was able to follow you, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Then the last stratagem is Insanity's Ire. Your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has shot, you pick a destroyer cult or flayed one unit from your army that has one or more of its models destroyed by that attacking unit. You can make a normal move, but must end as close as possible. So once again, another way to get closer to your opponent. But the unfortunate part is when you take damage on these units, you're probably taking quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
So that making a normal move with like the remaining Scorpec and the Lord is not really going to make the difference.
Yeah, these units aren't massively durable, and this isn't an inbuilt ability. So
if these units could stack a lot of defensive buffs as well and be as tanky as some of the other Necron units, then these abilities would be enormously powerful. But by the time your opponent is actually doing the shooting for Insanity's Ire, you're probably crippled.
Yeah, what did you do? It's not worth it.
Yep. So We'll see. We'll kind of summarize the detachments at the end, but I definitely lean towards Awakened Dynasty as being a bit more powerful than
I don't
it supports multiple play styles.
I agree. I think that one's kind of not awesome.
When all the strats and the detachment rule only key off of those two types of data sheets, you expect the rules to be very strong for those data sheets. And there are 2 rules that I think are quite strong, but the rest are kind of meh.
Yeah.
All right, Canoptic Court.
Oh yeah, this is
Bless the Lords, baby. All right, here we go. Everybody get excited because this is the real deal.
the real deal.
This is the real deal.
All right.
Okay. It's one of the real deals, but like this is the one that I'm leaning towards. So, its attachment rule is called Power Matrix. And certain areas of the battlefield are considered to be within your army's power matrix. If you're familiar with Chaos Demons and how their Shadows of the Warp works,
It's the same rule.
yeah, it's basically the same rule. So your deployment zone is always within your army's power matrix. At the start of any phase, if you control at least half of the objective markers within No Man's Land, till the end of that phase, No Man's Land is within your army's power matrix. So it's checked at the start of each phase whether you have the power matrix in midfield or not by controlling half or more of the objectives. The start of any phase, if you control at least half of the objective markers, so not half or more, just half the objective markers within your opponent's deployment zone, until the end of the phase, your opponent's deployment zone is within your power matrix. Okay, so what does all this mean? Each time a model in a Cryptek or Canoptic unit from your army makes an attack, you reroll hits of 1. And this is where synergy comes in. You're giving up the +1 to hit, so you need
For rerolls.
So you need some sort of benefit here. You're getting reroll hits of 1. If a unit is wholly within your opponent's or is wholly within your army's power matrix, you get full rerolls to hit. At that point, that is stronger than +1 to hit.
Way stronger.
Because Necrons have a lot of lethal hits, a lot of sustained hits, a lot of ways to interact with that.
And notably, Cryptek is a leader. So if you join a Cryptek to a unit, they get the Cryptek keyword.
Yep, that unit has the Cryptek. The model's in it, just the Cryptek model has it, but the unit has the keyword. And then Canoptic is obviously very powerful. So
Wraiths, Scarabs, Spiders. Doomstalkers.
All of a sudden,
Reanimators.
I've said it's inconsistent in the past. It's pretty
longer.
consistent.
Because it's going to sit in the backfield.
It's just going to pop off.
Also, it's Overwatch.
Yes, if it's in those power matrices.
Also, a lot of the Forge World units, the Canoptic, this Tomb Sentinel, this Centipede thing.
Yep,
it's pretty good with 4 rolls to hit.
It absolutely is. With access to +1 AP when your opponent's on an objective. And let me tell you, I got to start building those. So this is a great detachment rule. Okay, because yes, not every unit can get a Cryptek or is Canoptic, so there are plenty of vehicles that aren't going to benefit from this, whereas they do benefit from the +1 to hit.
Yeah.
So it is encouraging you to run a brick, either bricks that can get a Cryptek in it, or the Canoptic units.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, they're good.
Very,
So
very good.
It is really pushing you towards a particular archetype, but that archetype is going to be strong. But that's not all. Get ready here. We got enhancements and stratagems. So enhancements, Dimensional Sanctum, Cryptek model, models in the Bears unit have Infiltrate.
This is so good. So good. 20 Necron
Quinn.
Warriors, start on the field.
I'm gonna start on top of you.
Yeah.
Night Spinners, I am inside of your Eldar deployment zone.
It's the worst.
Inside of it, okay? And you bet I'm going to be controlling half the objectives in your deployment zone.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a power matrix, okay?
Oh, no.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic upgrade. Then we have Hyperphasic Fulcrum. Also goes on a Cryptek. All these go on Crypteks.
Yeah.
While the bear is leading a unit, if the unit is wholly within your army's power matrix, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll wounds of 1.
This is insane. Now we're rerolling hits and rerolling wounds of 1.
We're efficient.
We're very efficient.
We're like Space Marines out here.
Yeah.
Auto Divinator is each time your opponent gains a CP as a result of an ability, on a 2-up you gain 1.
This is pretty good.
You don't have to run Imatech anymore for the getting extra CP.
If you're playing against Eldar and they have that way leap where you're just like,
2-up.
CP.
Or they have Abaddon.
Or Marni's Calgar, or whatever.
Or if your opponent has Imatech.
Yeah.
So...
Notably, it doesn't work on the tactical CP generator because it's an ability, so...
Yep. But it's still on a 2-up. If this was a 4-up, then I'd be thinking a little iffy on it.
A 2-up, like...
Even if you get 3 CP back, it could totally be worth it. And then you'll see with the strats how valuable CP is. Then Metalodermal Tesla Weave. Once per phase, when an enemy unit selects the bearer's unit as the target of a charge, you roll a d6. On a 2 to 5, they suffer d3 mortals. On a 3, they suffer 3. This is very good for people when people want to just tie up your Necron warriors, and you're just like, you know what? Just take mortals each time. Just take random mortals. Because they're going to want to charge the different ends of your Necron unit, and just like, all right, I'm going to pick something to wound here.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible. It's probably the worst of them.
I agree.
But I think that its value
I think the Hyperphasic Fulcrum and the Pocket Dimensional Sanctum are both amazing.
Yep.
The Auto Divinator I probably will take, and the Tesla Leaf you probably leave at home.
Yep. But I think, the first two are just straight up automatic.
Good. Yeah.
All right, here we go on the strats. So, Curse of the Cryptek is, and all of these, all but one of them is 1 CP.
Yeah.
So, this one's 1 CP. It's used in your opponent's shooting or fight phase. One Cryptek model from your army that was destroyed by one of the attacking unit's attacks, use the strat even though they were destroyed, till the end of the battle. Each time a friendly Cryptek model makes an attack...
The Canoptic model.
Canoptic model makes an attack that targets the attacking unit, +1 to hit and wound.
That is insane. You can take your Cryptek, you've charged at your opponent's best thing.
This makes me want to run like the solo Psychomancers or just the random stuff.
Yeah.
To get them killed by something good and then just charge them into Angron and just be like, +1 to hit and wound against you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's cool. All right. Then the next one is Cynosure of Eradication. This is the 2 CP. Yep. So start of your shooting or fight phase. One Cryptek or Canoptic unit from your army that is wholly within your army's power matrix. Till the end of the phase, weapons equipped by models in the unit have dev wounds.
Crazy good.
Yikes. It's tasty.
Crazy good.
It's tasty. There's a lot of volume of fire in this army, and
Dev wounds is a good ability.
dev wounds is fantastic. Not going to use it all the time,
No,
but when you need it,
yeah.
it's a fantastic tool to have. All right, 1 CP Solar Pulse. Start of your shooting phase, you pick one Cryptek model from your army. You select one objective marker within 18 of your Cryptek model. Until the end of the phase, weapons equipped by friendly Necron models have the Ignores Cover ability while targeting units within range of the objective marker.
Very solid.
Necrons have struggled with units that are standing on objectives in cover, like Terminators. Get rid of that cover.
Yeah, this is great.
Yoink.
We're 3 for 3 on pretty solid strats.
Yep, very, very solid. Then we've got Reactive Subroutines, 1 CP. Your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or a fallback move. One Canoptic unit from your army that is within 9 can make a normal move of up to 6.
Very good.
Doesn't have to be end as close as possible like the other strats.
You can go back.
You can just go back, touch an objective. You can string out and block other potential charge plays that are coming.
You can take your wraiths, run up, tag something. If they fall back, you run away.
The shenanigans are real here.
Yeah.
And it's strong.
Very strong.
It might not seem strong when you just read it, but
it's very good.
Trust me,
it's very
shenanigans. 1 CP Counter Temporal Shift. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. One Canoptic unit from your army that was selected as the target of those attacks. Till the end of the phase, your unit can only be selected if, by range attacks, if the attacking units or attacking model is within 12.
This is just incredible.
1 CP Lone Op.
Very, very, very good. For those of you familiar with the Nurgle strat from CSM, this is incredible.
So, once again, a Doomstalker standing in the firing angles. You can protect it.
Big unit of wraiths.
Big unit of wraiths, and you'll see that they're dramatically
something on
improved.
your objective you didn't see.
Yeah. It's very, very strong.
Yeah.
And then 1 CP Suboptimal Facade. When your opponent's charge phase, just after an enemy unit has declared its charge, one Canoptic unit from your army that was selected as the target of that charge and is wholly within your army's power matrix, you activate Reanimation.
This one is okay.
It's very strong on wraiths that you're trying to actually finish off.
That's true. Yeah.
But we'll get to wraiths and why they're so good.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem as strong as the other ones, but there are going to be situations where your opponent has finally put enough power into the wraiths and is like, all right, this charge will finish them off. And I'm like, hold on, good sir. Reanimations.
Was an extra guy back?
Now, on average, you don't actually kill them, and you're going to be real sad. So, but this is a package where all the strats are useful, and you're going to want to know all of them.
I think this one's would be the best one.
So that is that. Next one is Obeisance Phalanx.
So this one is all the like Triarchs and Lords and
yep.
stuff, yeah.
This is the Silent King's detachment, basically.
Oh, yeah.
So their detachment rule is Worthy Foes. In your command phase, select one enemy unit. Until the start of your next command phase, each time an Overlord, Lich Guard, or Triarch unit from your army makes an attack that targets the unit, +1 to wound.
This is kind of like Oaths.
It is quite strong,
yes.
honestly. And the fact is that you get to switch it from command phase to command phase. Really so it's not like Votan where you just pick them and that's that. You can swap as needed. It is only one target, but +1 to wound is
pretty
+1
good.
to wound.
Yeah.
All right. Honorable Combatant enhancements. I believe all of them go on an Overlord model. Okay. Each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy character unit, your opponent loses 1 CP if they have any.
This is so funny. -1 CP.
Guess how many people are prepared to lose CP in their turn, in their opponent's turn?
Not
0.
Nobody. Yeah, no.
So either they will just spend it on some random nonsense.
Yeah, CP roll.
But at the end of the day, they don't have their key strat ready. So I don't know if this is going to be that impactful, but if you are able to pull it off, generally this is going to be effective on a shooting unit rather than a combat unit.
Yes. Is
being able to kill them, force them to use the CP at the beginning of their turn or by their shooting phase, so that all of a sudden they don't have it later.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking. But it's interesting, because it's a pretty unique rule. Yeah. Then Unflinching Will is the bearer's melee weapons have precision, anti-infantry 5+.
So it's not bad on the Void Scythe that has dev wounds.
It's not bad, but at the same time, it's not great. Anti-infantry 5+? 5+?
That's,
no.
It's not. Yeah, it's not great.
Warrior Noble, because generally you want to string your overlords back.
Yeah, behind walls. You
literally get them into combat and precisioned out. So, Warrior Noble. Each time a melee attack targets the bearer's unit, -1 to hit. So -1 to hit on melee, like I mentioned, is pretty rare.
Yeah.
So, interesting thing you can add onto here. And then Eternal Conqueror is each time model in the bearer's unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit within range of an objective marker, you reroll hits.
Pretty good.
Definitely taking that.
Yeah.
Okay. The stratagems. I believe all these are 1 CP. Yep. So your time is nigh is the first one. It's used in any phase just after your opponent's warlord is destroyed. Until the end of the battle, each time an enemy unit takes a battle shock or leadership test, -1.
This is not terrible. It's not awesome. Notably, your warlord also has to be alive because they're the target of the stratagem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is this going to come up in the early game where it's very impactful because it would last the whole game? Probably not. But against certain armies, it might.
Yeah. If you're playing World Eaters and Angron runs at you and you kill him turn 1, might be worth it.
Still, it's a bit niche. Enslaved Artifice is your shooting or fight phase. 1 Necron's unit from your army, excluding Titanic, that has not been selected yet. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, unmodified hit roll of 5+ is a critical.
Not bad on, like, Tesla Immortals or something.
Yeah, it's quite strong, because all of a sudden you don't have to take, like, the Plasmancer to pop this effect. And it's used on... It's not restricted to an Overlord unit here.
Yep,
it's just
any
Necron unit, which is very... excluding the Titanic ones, obviously. But that's a very good strat.
Yep.
Nano Assembly Protocols is used in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. You pick a Necron vehicle unit from your army, and that was selected as a target. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is allocated to the model, -1 damage.
You can use him with Silent King, can't you?
He is a Necron vehicle unit.
This is pretty good.
It's very good.
1 TV -1 damage on Silent King. It's pretty good.
It's very good.
Very good.
You know I'm going to do it.
Oh, you absolutely are.
I'm 100% going to do it.
Yeah.
Then Sentinels of Eternity is 1 CP fight phase. Just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, you pick a Lich Guard or Triarch Praetorians unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if the model hasn't fought, 4-up fight on death.
It's okay.
Once again, it's fine, but 4-up is pretty inconsistent.
Yeah.
So it's not a guarantee that you're going to get too much value out of it. 1 CP, Suffer No Rival. Fight phase used on a Lich Guard or Triarch unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, melee weapons have precision.
Okay, it's not...
Once again, it's
It's very
And then Territorial Obsession is 1 CP. It's used in your command phase. 1 Lich Guard or Triarch Praetorian's unit. Till the start of your next command phase, +1 OC. And if your unit has the vehicle keyword, which I believe the Triarch Stalker doesn't have the Triarch Praetorian's keyword, so I think they just miss. It's a Triarch Stalker. It's not a Triarch Praetorian.
Oh, okay.
But
it has a Triarch.
It has a Praetorian inside of it, but I believe it just has the Triarch Stalker keyword.
Does it have the Triarch keyword?
Well, it doesn't. This doesn't trigger off Triarch.
No, but I thought the top one.
That does.
Yeah.
Some of these do, but they just put Triarch Praetorian. I think they just brain farted here.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to go back and fix it, because if your unit has the vehicle keyword, otherwise it doesn't do anything for that. Yeah. Anyway, if it's a vehicle, you get +3 to your OC, which...
It's fine.
It's fine. But it can only be used on the Triarch Stalker, I assume.
I think so. It could be, okay, if your opponent's like, oh, you have 10 Lich Guard on there, I'm going to put 10 dudes on... Oh, I'm OC 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bigger thing also about this is you can use it, you tell your opponent, you'd be like, oh, I can pay a CP and get extra OC.
You're using it in your command phase, so they know.
Right, but the point is that you can be like... Your opponent be like, oh, well, I guess I'm just not going to go for the deny play, right?
Yeah. You just tell them and the threat of it, or they actually send out enough stuff. It's solid if you're running the Lich Guard for sure, or the Praetorians. But really, the critical fives and the minus damage on the Silent King is quite strong.
Are the big ones.
Okay. Hyper Crypt Legion.
This is my favorite.
You can do this.
I don't know if it's the best one, but it is my favorite. So at the end of your opponent's turn, you can select a number of Necron units from your army, not including units that are engagement range, and you can put them into strat reserve. So for a 2,000 point game, you can pick 3 units. For 1,000, you get 2 for 3,000.
Grey Knights, anyone?
Yeah, basically, it's the Grey Knight rule. You put them into strat reserves. Notably not into, they don't get to, teleport down Deep Strike, but they come on from the edge, unless they already have a rule like Deep Strike. Yeah. If they have that on their data sheet, then they can just appear. Okay, so enhancements. The Dimensional Overseer Necron model. While you're on the battlefield or in reserves, you can add 1 to the number of units that you can select for hyperphasing. So you got pick up 4 units. This one is great.
Yep.
This is really just good.
Makes the detachment rule better.
Yep. Arisen Tyrant Necron model. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, you can reroll a hit roll of 1. That's pretty good. If the bearer's unit was set up on the battlefield this turn, you can full rerolls to hit. That's great. That's just really good.
That's money in the bank.
That's just really good. That unit's going to go up and down every turn.
Every single turn.
Yep. Hyperspatial Transfer Node Necron model. Each time the bearer's unit advances, you don't make an advance roll for it. Instead, you just add 6. That's pretty good.
It's quite good as well.
Yeah. And then the Osteoclave Fulcrum, the Necron model, they get Deep Strike. So you can actually just put them down anywhere. This is also quite good.
They have, all 4 of these is very good. Which ones you pick is interesting.
I like Arisen Tyrant, but Osteoclave Fulcrum is also very good. They're both very good.
I think there's a reason to run all 4 of them, so you're going to have to make the tough choice of priority.
You have to actually decide. They're all good enhancements.
Okay. Stratagems.
Okay. Hyperphasic Recall. Just after you use this, it's 2 CP, and your opponent's shooting or fight phase after an enemy unit has shot or fought. You pick 1 Necron's infantry unit from your army that has had models destroyed, and then you remove it, and you set it anywhere within 6 inches of the battlefield, wholly within 6 inches of a monolith model.
Yeah, you need a monolith. You need to target an infantry unit and a monolith. Yeah. So you have to run the monolith. But if you do, then it's your opponent's shooting or fight phase.
Yeah. So basically, you put dudes out, they shoot it, and you're like, I want this unit to live. Woo!
Or they set up all these charges into you. You know, all these armies that are like, I will put 50 billion attacks into your Necron warrior unit to kill it. And you're like, no.
Yeah. Goodbye. Yeah. Okay. Quantum Deflection. Use this in your shooting or fight phase after an enemy unit has selected.
So let me just say one more thing. It's they still get to resolve their attacks. It's if they set up multiple.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, I need the 5-man unit of Chosen with the Lord plus these accursed cultists. First unit swings, and then the next one with its pylons and consolidates is going to finish you off. You're like, no.
Yeah.
That's where it is. Just to make that clear.
Yeah. Quantum Deflection in your opponent's shooting or fight phase after an enemy unit has been selected its target. 1 Necron vehicle from your army that gets a 4-up invuln. Most vehicles in Necrons have 4.0 anyways, don't they?
Yes.
Is there anything this can go on?
I have to look again.
Like,
I read it and I was like, this is...
I feel like the Ghost Arc and the Doomsday Arc...
They have a 4-up.
Maybe
the Doomstalker has a 4-up. I believe the Triarch Stalker has a 4-up.
What can this go on?
The
Monolith. It's the Monolith. That's what it is.
The Monolith and the Obelisk, I guess.
Sure. I'm sure there's some like dumb fortune vehicle.
No, I think the Seraptic has a 4-up too.
Okay. Well, your Monolith gets a 4-up involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Reanimation Crypts, they're in your command phase, your Warlord, for each of your units in reserves, they get to reanimate in their reanimation protocols, which is pretty good.
It's sweet. Yeah, it's very sweet.
Cosmic Precision. This one's so good.
This is super good.
So the Necron unit that's deep striking or in the hyperphase ability, you can show up 3 inches away. But you can't charge.
Have you ever wanted 20 warriors to string out all over the place so that your opponent is permanently move blocked?
Yes.
You found the strat for that.
Yeah. Oh boy, this is good.
This is the reason that I think this is genuinely very strong.
Oh, this strat makes this attachment.
This stratagem puts the shenanigans you can do with move blocking into a different dimension.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. Okay. Dimensional Corridor. This one's also 2 CP. Your charge phase uses you pick a Necron's unit that was set up on the battlefield using the Eternity Gate of a Monolith, and it can charge. Mm-hmm. Notably, there's no range restriction on the Eternity Gate of the Monolith, so your Monolith comes in, then the guys get out an inch away, then they charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not 9 away.
This is niche, but really good if you can pull it off.
Yeah, there's a reason it's 2 CP.
Yeah.
And then the last one.
The Entropic Dampening. Your opponent's shooting phase after an enemy unit has selected its target. One Titanic model from your army that was selected as a target of the attacking unit and has been 18 the attacking unit until the end of the phase. Weapons in the attacking unit gets hazardous. Is the Monolith Titanic?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, you have to have the your Monolith is like no, and your enemy gets hazardous, which could be really cute on like a bunch of crisis suits or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they don't have
or like aggressors or something like that. Yeah.
So it is cute.
Yeah.
Is your opponent going to care? They're probably still going to just try and destroy the Monolith at that point.
Yeah.
But obviously, a lot of these strats interact with the Monolith or encourage it. Mm-hmm. So this is, if you like the Monolith, which a lot of people do because it is awesome, mm-hmm. this is the Monolith attachment. This is the shenanigans. This is the mobility. This is trying to outplay your opponent.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of tools to do it. This one's going to require a lot of reps, in my opinion,
I agree.
To fully master. Mm-hmm. Just like Grey Knights is a super hard army to like fully master all the shenanigans they can do, or GSC.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you're trying to
do. But
it
is. I think there's a lot of strength here.
I think there is, absolutely. And in a teams list where the Monolith isn't a liability against certain armies, very, very strong.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. And those are the detachments.
Yeah. So I think on pure raw strength, I think the Canoptic Court is the strongest.
I think it is the strongest because it's the most natural. Mm-hmm. You already want big bricks with Cryptex inside, and then the Canoptic units are just solid support, and you see they got some buffs. So that's just a very good and relatively easy to use detachment, and there's not too many hoops to jump through.
I think the Hyperphasic Legion and the Triarch one are both pretty okay.
And Awakened Dynasty.
Yeah, and Awakened Dynasty. And then I think the like Destroy Cult one's pretty bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just doesn't do So the thing is, what I was hoping for is it would let not just Destroyer Cult and Flayed Ones punch up, but it would let the army punch up and have a real melee style. Mm-hmm. And there is the one strat, but it's just not enough. It's not enough. So I think that is a big miss there, unfortunately. But these other ones are quite strong. Like 4 of them are quite viable.
Oh, absolutely.
If not the strongest.
Yes.
But 4 of them, there's plenty of flex here, and there's a lot of options. There's a very teleporty heavy style. Mm-hmm. There's a very, I'm going to do my normal control objective stuff, but on top of that, I'm going to do a lot of damage in return. And then there's the Awakened Dynasty, which is kind of I'm just playing normal Necrons. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of flex options. And then the Lord one, I think there's going to be some niche builds with that. But those are going to have to get figured out.
I completely agree.
Because there's a big change to Lich Guard, which we'll get to.
Okay. All right. So do you want to take some time and go through all of the data sheet changes?
So we're going to hit the highlights here because as you've seen with most of the things, not everything changes. Most things are relatively similar and haven't changed significantly. but there are a couple broader ones.
Yes.
So starting off with the Silent King, this is going to be seen in a couple different data sheets across the board, is that Necrons from 9th to 10th lost mobility.
Yes.
Because they had a +1 movement aura on pretty much, you would always have it, effectively. So they reduced their movement on their data sheets, but had this aura. Then they forgot they did that in 10th edition and just had everybody moving slower for no reason. So now a lot of things regained movement. So the Silent King gained a movement, is now 8 movement instead of 7. He also lost leadership 5+, which is absurd. He's the Silent King. Come on, what are we doing? What are we doing? Other than that, pretty much everything remained the same except his Wally-friendly, the Farron of the Stars aura. Wally-friendly Necron unit is within 6 of the Xeric model. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, not a ranged attack anymore, just an attack, reroll hits and wounds a wound.
Oh, no, that's pretty good.
So it's both shooting and combat. That's a big improvement. I like that a lot. And then the Farron of the Blades, which was the worst one, you still get to reroll charges in the aura, but each time a model in the unit makes a melee attack near him, +1 strength as well.
That's pretty good.
So that's very nice. And then the final one is still ignoring the characteristics to your and modifiers. That one obviously isn't quite as good with the recent US Open rulings, which are probably going to be adopted wholesale.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help you ignore AP reduction or damage reduction. So not quite as powerful, but still pretty good. Ignoring minuses to hit, minuses to wounds, OC changes. Still pretty valuable. They kept the thing that Xeric model only for the Deadly Demise. They didn't forget that part again.
Boom. Is he still D6+3?
Yeah, D6+3. It is a serious explosion. And then he used to be able to unbattle shock something within 12 inches. Now it's an aura, a 6-inch aura of Necron units get +1 to their leadership characteristic, which is why he's not leadership 5 base. But he should be.
Yeah,
he's the man.
Leadership 4.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so that's him.
Emotech the Stormlord with his fancy new model.
So he does get an extra wound. He has 6 wounds. And he can be attached to Immortals, Lichguard, or Warriors. He still kind of keeps everything basically the same. He's got his extra CP you get from Grand Strategist, and Lord of the Storm is the Mortals once per battle.
Yes.
All right. Like I said, I'm not going to stop at every single one, but you're going to see generally the increased movement. The Lords still move 5, but Luminous Xeris goes up to move 8, and he's quite tanky as well. His aura changes to be only if the Necron Battle Line unit is within 3.
A lot of the auras got a lot smaller.
They did get smaller. You can still extend it by having him kill models in the fight phase. But obviously that's not really... That never came up in any of the games I played with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trazen is still garbage, sadly.
He is still... you get sticky objectives, which Necrons don't really need. But it would be a cool ability in other armies. Orkan gets a sweet new model, but is effectively the same thing. He stays at the same wounds characteristic. It's just his model isn't garbage anymore. Cool.
The Lord with Translocation Shroud. This guy's actually new.
Yep, he is brand new. He is T5 with a 2-up save, 6 wounds, leadership 6+, only 1 OC, 4-up invuln. He can go in Immortals, Lichguard, or Warriors. He has his Overlord's Blade. And here's one of the first big changes. The Res Orb. Okay, if you remember, the Res Orb allowed you to do reanimation protocols in your opponent's command phase, in addition to your own. Now it is once per battle. Instead of every enemy command phase. While the bearer is leading a unit, at the end of any phase, so it is different, it's not end of your opponent's command phase, end of any phase, you can resurrect that unit if it's on the battlefield, and when you do, you activate the reanimation protocols for D6 wounds rather than D3.
Yes.
And you can't resurrect more than 1 unit per turn. So, only once per battle means it's a lot less reliable getting things back, and it's still D6, so that's kind of random. But it's any phase, so between your opponent's shooting phase and your fight phase, you can get it in there. So it has the strength there. So I think it's a lateral change. I think it's worse for the consistent playstyle of you chip me down, I get back to full. You chip me down, I get back to full. And you're going to see that throughout this book.
The reanimation is a lot less.
The infinite reanimating is quite a bit less powerful.
Yes.
Still there are shenanigans, but it is not
Not what it used
It's
to
not
be.
literally automatic that
Yeah.
20 warriors are back to 20 warriors.
I mean, the fact that you could kill 19 warriors and by your turn you'd have 20 again was kind of crazy.
It hurts me for you to say that. But yes, so
Yes.
I think this helps keep your unit alive in a turn, though, which is very valuable. It has the My Will Be Done, which is once per battle round. One unit from your army with this ability can be targeted with a strat for 0 CP, even if it has already been targeted with a different strat. Even if you've already targeted a different unit with that strat. So there are a bunch of things that are battle tactic in here. Not every key strat is. A lot of them are strategic ploy, but it's an ability that's nice to have. And then Translocation Shroud. Each time the model's unit advances, you don't roll an advance roll, you just add 6 to the move characteristic. In addition, each time a model in the unit makes a normal, advance, or fallback move, until the move is finished, you go through terrain and models as if they weren't there.
Yep.
So it helps with that mobility, which is super nice.
Yeah.
I quite like him.
I think he's quite good. Overlord is...
Basic Overlord is pretty much the same.
Yep.
I'm going to go over like the main changes here,
Yeah,
rather than all the minor.
The Resurrection Arms changed all the same.
Yep. The Res Orb changed in all those significant
The
ways.
CCB,
Yep.
same.
Still keeps that same aura and the -1 to wounds. The Scorpec Lord, he gives his unit lethal hits still, and does the mortals on the charge.
Yeah.
It's fine. He's not spectacular, but he's 7 wounds with a 4-up invul. He's fine. He's just too expensive, in my opinion. The Locust Lord still does his usual things. Let's see. Royal Warden. Okay. Royal Warden is changed in a significant way such that he is now an auto pick, in my opinion.
Okay.
Okay? So he's his same relative stats. He can only go in Immortals or Necron Warriors, so he cannot go in Lichguard, which is going to be a theme. Sorry, I didn't mention that with Orkin.
Oh yeah, Orkin can already join Lichguard.
A lot of the Cryptex cannot. They can only join Immortals and Necron Warriors, so the Cryptex are not going in your Lichguard, which makes them not quite as defensive as they were. And I think they're going to fall off, except in that one detachment that helps them. But even then, not as high on them. However, guess what he does now? Adaptive Strategy. This model's unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. This is the rule.
So good.
It had this rule in the previous edition, and I used him, especially in the latter part of it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
In addition, he kept his other thing, which is once per battle, start of any phase, you select a Necron unit within 12 that's battle shocked, and it's no longer battle shocked.
Yeah, no, this guy's great.
He's fantastic. Sweet Prince, you are back in my list, and I cannot wait to run him.
Yep.
Now, the consideration is, are you going to have him or a Lord plus the Cryptek? I definitely lean towards having the Lord. Actually, he used to have a different rule, so let's see if he still has it. Because the Cryptex, you can attach this unit, this model to a unit, even if a Royal Warden or Noble is in there. So I don't think you can get a Noble plus him, because he doesn't have some sort of exemption there. But you can get a Cryptek plus him.
Yeah.
Okay, Technomancer. He now has... There's no longer an option of the Canoptic Control Node versus the Canoptic Cloak. You just get the Cloak. 10 inches of movement. And he can now go in Immortals, Warriors, Canoptic Wraiths.
No Lichguard, though.
No Lichguard. Canoptic Wraiths, though, and we will get to those bad boys.
Remember the Canoptic attachment we talked about earlier.
But needless to say, he still gives a 5-up Feel No Pain to the models in his unit when he's leading it. And in addition, at the end of your movement phase, he can still heal a Necron unit within 6, D3 wounds. So, very cool. He's no longer a lone op. So, solo Technomancers are pretty dead.
Yes.
But the joining a unit is not dead whatsoever. And he's still one of the strongest Cryptex.
Oh, he's very good.
Psychomancer.
This guy got an overhaul.
Yes, he did. So he has 2 abilities. One is the Nightmare Shroud Aura. It's in the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase. If an enemy unit is below its starting strength, while within 6 of the model, they must take the Battle Shock test with -1. And once per turn at the start of your command, movement, shooting, charge, or fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 of the model. They take a battle shock test at -1.
Yes.
This one doesn't require line of sight, which means it is quite a bit more impactful, in my opinion.
I think having multiple of these things and kind of doing pseudo-tyrannies where you just force a bunch of battle shocks actually might be really effective.
And where you charge them into your opponent's key unit and get +1 to hit. And
Yep.
So he is much more valuable, in my opinion.
Yeah, very good.
Chronomancer. He kept all his good stuff, which is that it's always his unit's -1 to hit, and he gets the fire and fade, effectively.
So no change.
Yep, still a great unit here. Plasmancer, same exact thing. Okay, Catan.
So
Most of their powers are pretty much the same, as well as their defense of T11, 12 wounds, 4-up invuln, usually 4-up save.
half damage.
They move slower now. They move 6 inches. I believe all of them move 6 inches.
Yeah.
Yep. All of them went down to 6 inches movement, which is annoying, frankly. However, they did gain 5-up Pain,
Which is huge.
which means they are very, very tanky.
Yeah. Wow.
Especially considering the Technomancer can still heal them, as well as your reanimation protocols. So they are slower, which was one of their weaknesses, so it's even a little bit worse now. But they're dramatically more durable with a 5-up Pain inbuilt. So take that as you will, but it is quite strong, in my opinion. They keep the half damage with Necrodermis.
Yep.
All right. That's the big change with them. And the other thing with the trans...
Hold on, go back up.
Yep.
The Nightbringer went from D6 damage to D6 plus 2 on his scythe.
I thought he was D6 plus
He was D6.
in his combat profile?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. All right. The Transcendent Catan, it got the
Cannot
rule.
be given enhancements,
Cannot
but
be
it has a 5-up natively, so...
Yep. And it still has the ability to advance and get around the battlefield. So, interesting change to the Catan. It does make me want having one of them as just a tool that my opponent might struggle with.
I really like the Nightbringer now, quite a bit.
Yeah. He's the one who can do the most damage.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, Necron Warriors. You know them. You love them. They're still battle line. Their data sheet rule has changed. Instead of being D6 plus, or D3 plus 3 reanimation if you're on an objective with the unit, now it is each time the unit's reanimation protocols activate, you can reroll the dice.
Which is much less good.
It is nowhere near getting back to the full.
Yeah.
As you can see. So they're a little bit more consistent at reanimating, but not by like a significant margin whatsoever.
No.
So huge change to Warriors here. Immortals are still banging.
Yeah.
Banging. As well as the fact that there are a lot of buffs in here that really help Immortals.
Yes.
I am leaning towards the list that I was playing, which was heavy Immortal style. I think that style is even stronger.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited. They basically keep their roll, which is when there's easy ways to get reroll hits, and then they have reroll wounds. It's a lot.
Yeah, these guys are great.
Yeah. All right, the Hexmark Destroyer is...
Gloctopus.
Gloctopus is very changed. He is, I think, the only lone op in here now.
It looks like
that the
it, yeah.
Technomancer died his death. But his rule of infinitely shooting doesn't work anymore. It's just once per turn in your opponent's shooting phase. When an enemy unit makes an attack that targets a Necron unit within 3, he can target them back. Okay, it's not you don't infinitely get to keep shooting back. He still can make the fire Overwatch strat free and hit on 2s in Overwatch.
Yeah.
His weapon is no longer precision, but does ignore cover.
That's cool.
His pistols. Lich Guard. Like I said, the big thing is they did not gain battle line or anything like that, and they don't...
Cryptex can't really join them,
Yeah.
so it's only Lords.
It's only
So no more Feel No Pains.
So their tankiness, as well as Warriors' tankiness,
His weight is down.
Immortal tankiness
Same.
stonks up.
Yeah.
Stonks up. Because you get a Luminar Xeris in there, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Triarch Praetorians. Basically the same.
Death Marks.
Pretty much the same.
Yep.
Your opponent comes in from reserve, they can shoot.
Flayed Ones.
They can still infiltrate and have stealth.
same.
They're still the same. Crypto Thrall's different.
Brr, brr, brr.
Good night, sweet princess. Salute. There's no 4 up.
There's
no 4 up Feel No Pain.
no
They
4.
gained a wound each, but no 4 up Feel No Pain means
Yeah,
they
they're
don't.
way, way less good.
They will die. They also don't just because they're 3 wounds. You don't just get both models back either.
Yeah.
On re-rolling reanimations with warriors. So
Yeah, the whole invincible bricks that come back for forever. That's all gone.
it's done.
Yep.
So hopefully you guys are quite a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Then Tomb Blades, they got a nice little movement buff. So
Yep.
they move 12 inches, but now they have.
Oh, they fire and fade.
Yep.
That's really cool.
They have a different rule, which is that in their shooting phase, if the unit is shot, it can make a normal move up to 6. You just can't charge after, which is fantastic. And their upgrades changed a bit. Now you have to choose between the Nebula Scope and the Shadow Loom, which is either you ignore cover, or the bearer's save characteristic goes to 3 up, and the move goes down to 8. So if you want the better move, there's no longer a 5 up invuln option in here.
Oh, yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
But if you want the 3 up save, you have to lose 4 inches of movement, which
I really
is
quite
probably
like these
not
guys,
going to
though.
be worth it. But I think they're still a very good skirmisher.
Yeah. The fire and fade is really nice.
It is super nice.
Scorpec Destroyers.
Okay, so part of the problem with these guys was that the unit used to be able to punch up quite significantly, like a lot of melee units, and did not. They did not allow that to happen in 10th edition, and that has stayed the same.
Yeah.
They have 4 attacks each, strength 7, AP 2, 2 damage. Strength 7 is just not really it. They're there to kill infantry units, and Necron's already very good at doing that.
Yeah, they're like pretty good at killing like basic Marines. Yeah.
Their rule is each time a model makes a melee attack, you reroll hits of 1, which is cool. And if the unit made a charge move, you can reroll hits instead, which is nice. But at the end of the day, I still don't think it helps them. They still get the once per game dev wounds. It's just not enough volume of attacks anymore. And not enough AP/high damage. They used to have that strength 8 or strength 9, AP 3, flat 3. And it doesn't exist. Sad. Ophidian still can go up into reserve, which is a fantastic rule. Great mission tool. And they have deep strike natively, so they're very good in the teleporty detachment. Locust Destroyers up to 8-inch movement, which is cool. And they reroll hits against the closest eligible target. And if that target is now within range of an objective marker, you reroll hits instead.
Yes.
So full rerolls. So more ways to get full rerolls, which helps on these lethal hits. Heavy Locust Destroyers, pretty much unchanged.
Coptic Reanimator.
The Reanimator, he has changed. He keeps his 4 of Feel No Pain.
Yep.
But his aura is no longer 12 inches. It is
Now
3.
3. Very different.
Still get the additional die. I was already dropping him with the 12 inches because my army I was playing more MSU, more spread apart. Now, he's probably not making it.
No.
Especially if he stays expensive. Then Canoptic Scarabs. Blah, blah, blah. Pretty much the same here. The only thing is the Chittering Swarm ability is a bit different. So this is where you -1 to your opponent's OC to a minimum of 1. While the unit is within 6 of 1 or more friendly Cryptek models, the OC control characteristic of models in the unit is 1. So
I
near
like
Cryptex,
this.
you can get 1. So you can string them out and do all sorts of little things.
I quite like these guys.
Yep. And they're 10 inches of movement again.
That seems pretty good.
Yep.
The Spiders.
Okay, the Spider. They did change his ability. He used to give a Gloom Prism ability of 4 of Feel No Pain against psychic attacks. They did tone that down a bit. It is now a 5 of Feel No Pain ability against mortal wounds and psychic attacks.
That's
so they
not bad,
added
though.
mortal wounds on here, and psychic attacks. Still 5 up is very good if you need it. And you get 6 of Feel No Pain from the Fabricator Claw for your vehicles. So still a solid platform. And you can still return destroyed scarabs with it. Okay, Wraiths.
These guys are going to be everywhere.
They are going to be everywhere. Luckily, I had all of them from the previous edition when I ran my Novak list. But they are now 4 wounds. And the difference between 3 wounds and 4 wounds at 4 up invuln T6 is big, especially when you can throw a 5 up Feel No Pain Technomancer inside this brick.
Yeah, they're good.
They are very good. Their rule was good before, which is fly over mortals. Now you're actually running them, so you don't get to use that ability. This is a fantastic unit. And they're OC2, so if they're near the command boards, they're OC3.
Yep. No, they're...
Expect to see the Wraiths.
Expect to see, are they 3 to 6? This is a run 18 kind of unit.
Yep.
In the Canoptic detachment.
It really is. It's very strong. So yeah, think about it. They're getting full rerolls to hit. So the thing is, you can get full rerolls to hit or reroll ones to hit on the particle caster, and then with dev wounds, you just try and spam out as
many. You get a caster and the weapons?
You pick which ones, I believe, right?
No, you get a shooting weapon to and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. That was pretty good.
Or you could take a bunch of strength 4 AP 2 flat 3.
Yeah.
But there's options there. Triarch Stalker still helps you. One of the ways to ignore cover, but that detachment has a very good strat. But it's still kind of... Its guns are so bad. So bad.
Yeah, they're not awesome.
And it does have the Triarch keyword, but not the Triarch
Praetorian keyword. Yeah.
Okay, the Doomstalker. Gun is basically the same. The big thing here is it has access to that canoptic detachment.
The 4 rolls to hit really helps this thing.
It really does. Okay, Annihilation Barge is still doing its thing. Doomsday Arc, it got a weird strength buff. It went from strength 15 to strength 18.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fine.
Otherwise, pretty much the same.
Yeah.
The Ghost Arc is...
down to 3 inches on its...
I believe it was always 3.
Oh, was it always 3?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It was the one that was 3. But effectively the same thing, can only be used on Necron Warriors. Only Necron Warriors can go inside. When can Immortals do it? Who knows? But let's go.
Can you still put a character in here?
Yep, and 1 Necron Infantry character model.
Yeah. Luminous Ares, let's go.
Alright, yeah, exactly. The Doom Scythe is still basically the same. Night Scythe still can do its transportation things, and it can come in turn 1, 2, or 3.
That's cool.
Regardless of mission rules. The Obelisk, I'm not even going to pretend I knew what the Obelisk did previously. No, get out of here. And it doesn't... It's one of the things that can benefit from the 4-up invul.
It deep strikes.
Yeah. Okay, the Tesseract Vault. It is changed. So in your shooting phase, when the model is selected to shoot, you first select up to 2 different Catan powers instead of just 1.
You get both?
You get 2 of 3.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. You get the indirect fire weapon plus one of the other ones.
Oh, wow.
It's a big deal. I think the Tesseract Vault is quite
actually kind of good now.
It's quite good.
Wow, okay.
Okay, the Convergence of Dominion also changed. This is the fort. It is split up between taking 1 to 3 of them instead of having to take the whole 3 package. And it is a 6-inch aura of Feel No Pain 6+ for Necron infantry units. So you can take 1 of them and just get that. It's okay.
Okay. And then the Monolith, which is really, really good in the Hyper Crypt Legion.
It gained a movement, but lost a toughness.
Oh, it's only toughness 13. Boo.
But it is 22 wounds.
Oh, that is pretty good.
It still has Deep Strike, and it still can do its Eternity Gate ability.
Yeah.
Don't think anything else changed.
What was its strength?
Strength 8.
Okay, cool.
And that is the
You want to talk
Necron
about the
rules.
Crusade rules?
No, we're not going to talk about the Crusade rules. We're going to focus only on the match play. But that is the Codex. So hopefully you enjoyed this breakdown. Like I said, didn't go through every single data sheet, and most of them remained unchanged, but I tried to hit the highlights here. Apologies if we forgot any of the smaller ones. But this is very...
there's some random, +1 strength to this weapon, -1 movement to that random unit.
The Necron brick style is worse.
Way
it
worse.
just is worse. You're not getting the infinite bricks anymore with max durability. But instead, Necrons are going to be encouraged to run more units in a more MSU playstyle, which is already the direction I was headed because I think it's the strongest into the top meta armies, where they do have the firepower to just kill the brick, even with the max defense. So you're losing a 500-point unit for one of their cheaper units.
Yeah.
So I think this is a healthy change for Necrons. It opens up multiple playstyles, a very fast teleporty style, a very durable control Cryptek one. The Lord one seems interesting, and Awakened Dynasty is still solid. So hopefully people will enjoy what we're seeing here. And like I said, we're going to do tons of Necrons content in the War Room, and we're going to have plenty of games coming out, including a Necrons versus AdMech game. So please do sign up to thewarroom.vhx.tv. There's a sale going on right now. Become Your Best is the code to get 50% off your first month. And we know you'll like it and stay for more. So please do check it out and check out all the awesome content, including this Necrons vs. AdMech game.
All right.
But how are you excited for this?
I'm so excited for this. I actually kind of want to play Necrons.
Everybody does.
Everyone wants to play
It's
Necrons.
such a cool army.
I know.
So hope you enjoy this one. We're not going to go through the points here because, as we've seen with all the codexes, the points in the book are irrelevant.
Yep.
They're going to publish a Minotaur Field Manual at some point, and at that point, we will do a review of the Minotaur Field Manual.
Yep.
So look forward to that video coming in the future. But like I said, join us in the Worm for tons more Necron content coming very shortly.
Yes. All right.
So appreciate everybody. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow. And leave a comment letting us know what you're most excited about with the new Necron Codex.
See you later.
Thanks a lot, everybody. So long for now.